Are you planning a trip to Malaysia? Then this video is for you. In this video, I'll be covering flights, the visa process, how to get around Malaysia. I'll also be sharing my travel itinerary, the places I stayed at, a rough budget of how much I spent in Malaysia, and so much more. So make sure you watch till the end because I absolutely love oversharing and I'll be sharing all these details with you. But if you're short on time and you're looking for specific topics to plan your trip, then I've also listed down the timestamps down in the description below, and you'll also find it along the video, and you can just skip to whichever section you want to see and take it from there. I took a direct flight from Bangalore to Kuala Lumpur. It was a 4-hour flight, and you get direct flights to Kuala Lumpur from almost all major cities in India. And I'm saying to Kuala Lumpur because that's generally the first stop for most people who are visiting Malaysia. Malaysia issues a single entry e-visa for Indians for 30 days. It's a very simple process and you have to apply for the visa online. The link to apply for the visa is in the description box below. Get SIM cards at Kuala Lumpur airport and even exchange money over there, but I would totally recommend that you not do that because it is really expensive. You can get SIM cards at any store in the city, and by city I just don't mean Kuala Lumpur but any city across Malaysia. It's very easy to get SIM cards and it is very easy to recharge them. But if you feel better about having a SIM card before you leave the airport, there are kiosks available. But just make sure you walk around, find the prices at each of these before you buy them. For currency exchange, I took dollars from India. So I would recommend that just exchange how much you need at the airport to get to the city, and the rest exchange it in the city. The exchange rates in the airport are terrible, and there are much better exchange rates which you get in the city. Just go on Google Maps, search for the nearest exchange center, and you can go and get a better rate for your dollars. The fastest way to get to the city from the airport is by a train. It's called KLIA Express and it hardly takes about 30 minutes to reach from the airport to Kuala Lumpur Central. You can also take a cab, but given how terrible the traffic is in Kuala Lumpur, it's easily going to take an hour to hour and a half for you to reach your destination. The train is an extremely convenient way to reach the city. It costs 55 ringgit and it takes about 30 minutes to reach the city. So there are signs all over the airport, just follow the signs and it will lead you straight to the ticket counter and you can buy your tickets there and get into the train. The train drops you off at KL Central. This is the transit hub at Kuala Lumpur. It's actually the largest transit hub in Malaysia. From here there are trains leaving to other cities, there is a metro station, there is a bus stop, and from here you can even get cabs to go to your accommodation. If it is convenient and there is a metro stop close to where you're staying, then I would absolutely recommend that you take a metro to your accommodation. It is convenient, fast and cheap. I spent about 9 days in Malaysia. I visited Kuala Lumpur, Melaka, Ipoh and Penang. This is not my first trip to Malaysia and I have visited Malaysia 2 times before, both the times spending a couple of days in Kuala Lumpur before I headed to Thailand. So this time I was really eager to explore other cities. So I didn't spend much time in Kuala Lumpur, just at the start of my trip and end of my trip. But Kuala Lumpur is a gorgeous city, and if you are a city person like me and you like the hustle and bustle, then absolutely spend at least a couple of days in Kuala Lumpur. You can visit the Petronas Twin Towers. I am in awe of Petronas Twin Towers and I made sure I even visited this time. It looks gorgeous, all lit up in the night, and even in the morning it is just an amazing sight to witness. You can visit Batu Caves, you can visit the numerous malls which are around the city. You can visit Chinatown, the various night markets, the food streets. There is just a lot to do in Kuala Lumpur, and the best part is it is so easy to get around the city because the train connectivity here is amazing. It might get a little confusing in the beginning, but once you get a hang of it, it is the most convenient way to get around the city. Just make sure you have change to buy the tickets. My first stop was Melaka. It is a colorful city by the riverside with the most amazing vibes. this place is such a vibe. It has a very laid back feel to it, and I'm already in love with the place. We left Kuala Lumpur and made our way to Melaka, which is like 2.5 hours away. It's quite easy to reach Melaka from Kuala Lumpur. You can take either a bus or a train and come here. If you're taking a bus, it leaves from this place called TBS. There is a metro stop right at TBS, so it makes it really convenient to reach the bus stop from anywhere in the city. I booked my bus from this website called 12Go. I'll make sure I leave the link in the description box below. Walk around the Heritage Square, eat your way through the weekend night market at Jonker Street. Walk by the riverside, get lost in the alleys, go on a river cruise, take in the artsy and laid back vibes. You can easily spend a couple of days in Melaka. It is the third largest city of Malaysia and capital of the Perak state. This time the bus journey was a bit longer because I took a bus from Melaka to Ipoh and it took me almost 6 hours. Ipoh is generally off the tourist radar and most tourists visit Cameron Highlands or Penang instead of Ipoh. Ipoh gives you small town vibes even though it is such a big city. It is often compared to Georgetown given how similar they are. In fact, it is also known as Georgetown's relaxed younger brother. It has a similar artsy vibe, street art scene, heritage buildings, a very nice food scene, very similar to Georgetown but minus the hustle and bustle. And that's exactly what drew me to Ipoh in the first place. Out of the usual tourist radar, big on its traditional coffee houses and of course the stunning art scene, you know this is totally my kind of place. I honestly thought and felt Melaka was laid back. Ipoh is another level of laid back, honestly. So chilled out, even like the people here, nobody's in a hurry. Ipoh is indeed a gem, and if you have the time, make sure to include this beautiful city in your trip. My last stop was Georgetown in Penang. I took a bus from Ipoh and it was a relatively short journey to Penang. Took me about 2 hours. The bus stops at Penang Central, which is at this place called Butterworth. From there, you need to take a short ferry to go to Georgetown. I'm not going to lie. I was primarily in Georgetown just for the street art scene. I am obsessed with street art and murals, and Georgetown is filled with them. Georgetown is very famous for its street art and sculptures. After exploring Melaka and Ipoh, I really did not have any other plan or agenda in Georgetown except to get lost in the streets and take in the artsy vibe of the place. Malaysia is a food haven for foodies and especially for non-vegetarians. But if you're a vegetarian like me, then it can get slightly difficult to get local cuisines. If you are especially wanting to try local cuisine, then the vegetarian variety is actually less. It's not that you don't get. There are a lot of options for mock meats. There are a lot of options even in the local cuisine, but you would have to go searching for them. But if you're not too concerned about the local cuisine, then you have a lot of choices as a vegetarian. There is a strong Indian community presence in Malaysia, so you are never short of Indian food. Any city you go to, they have Little India. A lot of Indian restaurants where you can go. It is extremely cost effective as well. Apart from that, you have a lot of cafes, a lot of restaurants, especially of different cuisines. So you're never actually gonna fall short of options as a vegetarian. I spent about 60,000 rupees for my entire trip. Again, this budget can go up or down based on the kind of traveler that you are. I am a mid-range traveler, I am not a budget traveler. Malaysia is an extremely budget-friendly place and the budget can be tailored according to your needs. The flights cost me around 25,000. I actually saw it as low as 18,000, but I kind of booked it last minute, because of which I had to pay more, and I booked a flexi ticket because of which it was 25,000. But if you're not concerned about flexi ticket and if you have only like a carry-on baggage and not like a check-in baggage, then yeah, it'll cost much lesser than 25,000 for you. I'm very particular about the kind of place I stay in, and I'm always drawn to beautiful stays. So I tend to choose the best based on my mid-range budget, and sometimes I'm even okay with paying more. I stayed at a beautiful waterfront property in Melaka, a heritage property in Ipoh, and a 100-year-old Chinese shophouse in Georgetown. The accommodations I stayed at costed me somewhere around 4,000 to 6,000 rupees per day. However, there are stay options available for all kinds of budget. Food I spent about 1,500 to 2,000 per day. Again, this is not a fixed up amount because on some days I was going and eating in Indian restaurants where the cost was definitely a lot cheaper to say an Italian restaurant where I had dinner some nights or a Mexican restaurant. So another thing I spent money on was transportation, of course. I'm going to leave all the amounts in the description box below. So basically buses between Kuala Lumpur to Melaka, then Melaka to Ipoh, Ipoh to Penang. So I took buses for all these three places. And from Penang to Kuala Lumpur, I took a high-speed train. Well, I think I have covered almost everything, but if I have missed out anything and if you still have any questions, then do leave a comment in the comment box below and I'll be more than happy to answer it for you. Well, thank you so much for watching and I'm going to see you soon in my next one. Bye!